You are Locked On Warriors POSTCAST, part of Locked On Sports Bay Area, on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Yo, what's up, everyone, and welcome back to the Locked On Warriors Postcast. I am your host, Eric Triple E Engel, former producer for the Murph and Mac Morning Show on KMBR. And today, the Golden State Warriors continued their battle for the final playoff position in the NBA Western Conference with another road win, this time against the Charlotte Hornets. Final score 115-97. The Dubs were missing Jonathan Kuminga and Klay Thompson, who is a late scratch in this one, but still just had too much talent for Charlotte to handle, as Steph led the way with 23 in an all-around effort from the Warriors, who picked up their 21st road win of the season. And we almost had another Draymond Green scuffle tonight. We got to talk about the Money Green situation after this one and the fallout from his ejection last time versus Orlando. We will break it all down, but first, I want to thank each and every one of you for watching us on the Locked On Sports Bay Area YouTube channel. Please smash that subscribe button. And thanks for getting us on the Locked On Warriors podcast feed. However you're getting the show, we appreciate it. And make sure to check out the Locked On Warriors daily show for more in-depth coverage. Cyrus does a really great job. This one, the Warriors let the Hornets kind of hang around in the first half. But good signs early on from the Warriors. Again, they went to first play of the game. They're running a ball screen for Andrew Wiggins, get him going downhill at the rim. This is essential. We've talked about this last couple games. This helps Wiggins stay connected throughout the game, be involved, keep his head mentally in the game, ready to play, ready to attack, keeping the foot on the gas. And Wiggins needs to build this momentum and keep going with it. Can't let him fall off. So really encouraging to see the Warriors continuing to make that into point of emphasis, not just at the start of games, but out of halftime as well, making sure that Wiggins, anytime after a big break that he comes back into the game, they want him involved right away, getting on the floor, getting towards the rim, rolling downhill. It is a huge benefit for the Warriors when Wiggins is in attack mode, and that is, again, how he came out tonight. Wiggins with a really nice night in this one, 7 of 17 from the field, could have been more efficient, but 8 boards and 2 assists, a block, 2 steals, 20 points. Great night from Andrew Wiggins. Only 1 foul, played a ton of excellent defense tonight. This was what you wanted to see. And he's not the only Warrior who played great defense. The Warriors held the Hornets to 97 points, the 3rd consecutive road game in a row where the Warriors have held an opponent under 100 points. That's a big deal. We've talked so much on this podcast about how the Warriors defense will travel and keep them in this playoff hunt. That is their key to winning games. Yes, you have Steph and Wardell Curry. That is a big part of it as well, obviously. But aside from Steph, outside of him, how are you going to win? And the way to do that is with defense. To let Draymond Green lead the way for your defense and be the heart and soul of this team going forward. Inspire guys like Trayce Jackson-Davis, like and Andrew Wiggins, like a Jonathan Kuminga when he doesn't have a knee injury and is back out there. That is who this team needs to be down the stretch. And the Warriors let the Hornets stay in this one, like I said, mainly due to turnovers and David Bertans' 3-pointers. Now, David Bertans kind of looked like discount Batman tonight with that weird gray mask on, like he just went on like eBay or something. And you remember that Batman Begins? I mean, I know this was a while ago, but for my generation, that was a pretty cultural moment, the Batman trilogy. But that first movie when they're like, Alfred's ordering all the parts for the Batman suit, this looked like a spare part for a Batman suit that Batman would have looked at and said, we need to do something different than that. He looked like discount Batman out there. And, he was draining threes all night long. And the one shot that he took in the paint just completely blew it. I mean, he was like essentially unguarded 2 feet from the rim, and he shot it like he was shooting a shot. He couldn't just lay it up. So David Bertans, a little bit of a one-trick pony. You heard GP2 at halftime specifically call him out and say the Warriors had to do a better job on defense against him and not let him shoot these threes. They had to get up in his jersey and make him dribble the ball, put it on the floor, and move him off of his spot, because he was just catching and shooting, and you can't just let him do that. I know it's the Hornets. I know that they have won 18 games all season long and have lost 55 games now after this loss to the Warriors, but you can't give, shooters in the NBA all the room in the world and just expect to still win. So because of these things, the Warriors We're only up by 5 at halftime, and that was thanks in part to Steph hitting a three at the buzzer, a deep three after some nifty ball handling. And that was a big shot. That was a big momentum change for the Warriors. I think if you go into halftime and the Hornets were only down 3 or less, like, you kind of give them a little bit of hope. That Steph shot kind of showed you he's going to get his when he wants to in this one. And he normally does in Charlotte. I mean, Steph has had an excellent career in Charlotte against the Hornets. I mean, he's played well in every single homecoming, even back to when it was the Charlotte Bobcats. His stats in Charlotte career in 10 games on the road, 28.4 points per game, 6.3 assists per game, 5 rebounds per game. That's pretty solid. And so Steph was actually under those totals tonight as he finished with just 23 points, 1 rebound and 4 assists. So actually kind of a subpar game for Steph in his homecoming. But, I mean, a subpar game for Steph is still a career night for so many guys in the NBA. So Steph did his part in this one for sure, leading the Warriors in scoring, leading them on the floor with his gameplay, just drawing so much attention that he was able to let other guys kind of take the reins. So many Warriors scored in double figures tonight. Moses Moody, 15 points off the bench. This is his second game in a row with double-digit points off the bench, which is great because their bench is thin right now with no Klay and no Kuminga, having to take CP3 and Jackson Davis and insert them into the pretty well tonight, obviously led by Moody, but Kevon Looney has also been giving the Warriors a lot of really solid minutes in these recent games. Another 8 points and 7 boards for Looney in limited action tonight. He was great, and you see him just around the ball all the time. Every time he's in the game, he's banging inside, he's grabbing boards, he's battling. Even if he's not pulling it down, he's making you work for those rebounds on the other side of the ball. So some great minutes from Kevon Looney, from everybody on the Warriors tonight, really. But again, it's the Charlotte Hornets. This is a game you must win at this point in the season. Cannot lose. And so is the Warriors' next matchup. Next time out Sunday against the San Antonio Spurs to wrap up the road trip. You got to win that one too. These are all must-win games against subpar opponents down the stretch. You cannot blow a game to a team that has lost 55 games. You can't do it. You just can't do it. And the Warriors did it tonight. We said at the end of our last podcast, the Warriors going to pull this one out. We were going to be pissed tonight. And, they pulled it out. So we got to give them credit where credit's due. They stepped up in this must-win situation, and they got it done. And where the separation really came was that third quarter. They opened it up, a 14-3 run for the Warriors, pushed their lead to 17 points. And Charlotte is not very deep. They looked like they were getting worn down by the Warriors. Brandon Miller got hurt in this one, ankle injury. You hate to see a young guy who's that talented have to come out due to injury, especially when they already have another superstar there, another young superstar, LaMelo Ball, who has missed the majority of the last 2 seasons with ankle injuries. So, bummer. I don't really want to be a Charlotte fan right now, but glad we're over here in the Bay on a day like today. Charlotte just doesn't really have a whole lot past LaMelo Ball, who's been out, and Brandon Miller and Miles Bridges. I mean, you just don't really have a whole lot on that team past those guys. They looked like they were getting tired. Miles Bridges' usage percentage in this one was sky high. And it was, it was a must win. It was a game you should win. And it went about how we could have expected it to go. Warriors win by almost 20 points. And like I said, it was an all-around effort. And guys like Looney, Moody, really, really stepping up in a game like tonight. And it's really impressive to me to see a guy like Kevon Looney, what he's done lately is really understated, because he has been asked to do what a lot of pros really hate to do. And keep in mind, he's still in the physical prime of his career. Yeah, he's battled injuries and stuff, but he's in his mid-late 20s. Like, this is when you're supposed to be physically at your best in a sport like basketball. And he's just the ultimate pro, a great teacher for TJD. His willingness to come off the bench despite his proven success as a starter on a championship team with this same core roster, reduce his minutes, whatever the Warriors need, come off the bench, and still give them 1,000% effort every time he's on the court. And really being a mentor to guys like Trace Jackson Davis, like a very, very unique guy to find, nothing short of a blessing to the Warriors. I saw a clip of Andre Drummond talking like perennial pro Andre Drummond, talking to a group of his AAU team, and they were, kind of obviously upset about some playing time, or that seemed to be the context. And Drummond was basically saying, like, I went from being a very important part of my team to being the last guy off the bench, and I hated it, league minimum guy, and I had a bad attitude, and yada yada yada. And Kevon Looney could be that guy. He could be pouting at the end of the bench, upset he's not getting playing time, like looking for a way out of the Warriors and trying to force his way onto another team that's going to give him meaningful minutes in a playoff race. We all know that there's tons of teams that could use a guy like Kevon Looney in the playoff race, but he doesn't do things like that. It's great that the Warriors have a guy like that in this one. And in that third quarter, the Warriors outscored the Hornets 39-26. Really, that was all she wrote in this one. The Hornets finished the game just barely above 40% shooting, but just barely past that mark in the fourth quarter. For the majority of the game, the Warriors held them below 40% from the field, and they finished the game just 26% from the three-point line. An excellent job on defense from the Warriors tonight. Total domination in points in the paint, 64-38. Excellent game from the Warriors all the way around. Won the rebounding battle as well, 52-47. And the ball was hopping around tonight, 35 assists. You don't want to see that 12 turnover number. You want to see that come down a little bit. But hey, it was better than the 20-something that the Warriors had against the Hornets the last time that these guys played. Speaking of the last time these guys played, we got to get into some of this Draymond Green, Grant Williams scuffle that kind of happened at the end there. We got to talk about it in the context of what happened last time these two teams faced, where if you remember correctly, at the end of that one, there was a little scuffle as well involving Draymond Green and Grant Williams. We'll get into that a little bit more on the other side. Again, Warriors win this one going away, 115-97 state, a game ahead of the Houston Rockets in that Western Conference playoff race for that 10th seed. The Rockets playing tonight, playing right now, or should be. We'll be scoreboard watching in this one. So stick with us on the Locked On Warriors postcast. I'm your host, Eric Triple E Engel, and we will be right back. Passion, drive, and patience. What brings home the winning trophy is also what keeps your ride or die alive. eBay Motors has everything you need to maintain your vehicle and level it up to peak performance. From superchargers, roof racks, exhaust kits, LED headlights, and more. Whether you're into speed, power, or style, eBay Motors has got you covered. With over 122 million parts for your number one ride or die, you'll always find exactly what you're looking for. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, your part is guaranteed to fit your ride every time or your money back. Because with eBay Motors, you're burning rubber, not cash. With all the parts you need at the prices you want, it's easy to turn your car into the MVP and bring home that win. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply. eBay Guaranteed Fit only available to U.S. customers. Welcome back to the Locked On Warriors postcast. I am your host, Eric Triple E Engel, and we got to talk about this Draymond Green, Grant Williams scuffle and the context of all this turmoil swirling around Draymond Green. And I'm going to tell you guys right now, I'm in Draymond's corner. I'm going to defend Draymond Green right now. You see, if you're watching on the YouTube, you see the Draymond Money Green 23. I'm wearing it right now. And I got some thoughts on this. So let's set this up. At the end of this one, the Hornets are losing, going away bad, and Grant Williams gets up in Draymond's face, is called for a foul, and you see him just kind of linger around Draymond Green, get up into his chest a little bit, even after the whistle has already blown. And you see Draymond Green put a hand in the middle of Grant Williams' chest and extend his arm, push him back. It wasn't forceful. He wasn't trying to hit the guy. It was just a give me some space move. I think we've all done that a point or two in our life. But it's just very Grant Williams to do that thing. Like there is no point in trying to agitate Draymond Green in that situation other than to agitate Draymond Green in that situation. Your team is not going to win this game. You don't play the Warriors again this season. You're not going to the playoffs. You're not trying to inspire your team to play harder. There's no reason for Grant Williams to be doing this other than the fact that he's Grant Williams and he lives to just irritate people and get under your skin. That is who this guy is at his core. I don't really like guys like that. The difference between him and a guy like Draymond Green's motive for getting under people's skin is to inspire his team to play better, to get you off of your game as a competitive advantage. He's looking for a competitive advantage by using his emotion in the game. Grant Williams is just trying to frustrate you in the last minute or two of the game because he hasn't done it yet this game and he needs to get his little cheap shot in. And that's who Grant Williams is. A fake tough guy who, if you remember, started some ish last time they were out because he was mad about Lester Quinones laying in a easy unguarded layup with like 2 seconds left in the game because the shot clock was running out and he didn't want to pick up a 24-second violation. Like, thinking that they are enforcing the unwritten rules of basketball when Miles Bridges, not the guy to be standing on morality at all, ever. And so I have a hard time taking guys like Grant Williams seriously. But shortly after this foul was called, Draymond and Grant Williams get tangled up again, and you kind of see Draymond get a little mad at the official for being called for an offensive foul, and you kind of hold your breath, a little bit bated breath in that moment. But, everything worked out fine. The Warriors actually challenged the play, reviewed it, and they lost, which was interesting because it could have been really called a double foul either way. I think whatever the foul or the call on the floor was would have stood in that situation. If they called it a defensive foul, that would have stood. If they called it an offset, not offsetting fouls, but this isn't football. But if you called a foul on each guy, that would be, understandable in that situation. And it was kind of a nothing burger of a moment. It ended up being one, but it just reminded me of the last time that they were out. And Grant Williams all of a sudden runs in to try and be the agitator. Grant Williams wasn't even involved in that Lester Quinones play. The last time these teams played, if you remember, it was Miles Bridges who was underneath the basket and initially got there. Grant Williams runs over from the bench. They somehow push the pile over towards the Warriors bench, and all of a sudden Draymond Green's there in the mix, talking and chirping with Grant Williams back and forth. I mean, that is who he is. This is who Draymond Green is. We know this. He has been the same guy throughout the entire Warriors dynasty. In fact, this dynasty is entirely impossible, does not exist without Draymond Green. If you still have Stephen Klay, maybe the Warriors still won a championship. Maybe they won two, but they do not dominate the way they did with Draymond Green. They probably don't even pull other guys in like a Kevin Durant. Like, think of the relationship Draymond Green had with him. He is so critical, so crucial to this team's success in his career. There is no doubt in my mind. Without him, you do not have Chase Center sitting down there in downtown San Francisco or just outside of downtown San Francisco. You don't have all of these nice things. We have Draymond Green to credit just as much as anyone else on this team with the exception of Stephen Wardell Curry. He's in a league of his own. Yes, we all know this. But without Draymond, you don't win these things. You just don't, flat out. You cannot make an argument that they do. And what about Draymond won you all of those championships? His demeanor on the court, his attitude, his tenacity, the fire he plays with. I am tired of the Draymond Green slander. I'm tired of hearing he needs to change his ways. He needs to, walk the line and be, do what the NBA tells him to do. Draymond Green is who Draymond Green is. He's an agitator. He plays with fire, passion, inspiration. He leads your team. He's the heart and soul of the Golden State Warriors. He's going to pick up some ejections. He's going to play with that passion and be mad, be angry when things aren't going well for his team. You want that. You want a guy on your team who isn't going to tolerate losing, who isn't going to tolerate subpar play, who isn't going to tolerate bad defense, letting guys get easy buckets at the rim. You want a guy who's going to step up and yell at some people and be the enforcer. You need somebody like that on your team. I don't care what sport it is. You need someone like that on your team. We could go all day with guys like that have had major impacts on their teams that were the same as Draymond Green. But I'm tired of the slander, man. I mean, let's break that ejection down. Draymond Green, yes, he made contact with an official. You can absolutely never do that. Bad look. He owned this. Posting it, yes, 2 days ago. He said that was inexcusable. He said Steph was right when Steph called him out and said that he can't be getting ejected in games like this. And Draymond Green said, you are right. I need to be out there on the court. Steve Kerr called the ejection unforgivable and said that, Draymond Green needs to be out there essentially. They need him on the court. I get that. The ejection itself, unforgivable. The ejection itself. his behavior, the way he plays, the way he carries himself on a court, that's an entirely separate thing. This ejection was not for Draymond's play on the court. This ejection was because he was mad at an official and yelled at him. He made contact with the official. They called the technical. Draymond went to walk away, and he kept running his mouth and didn't get far enough away from the official while he was running his mouth for the official to not hear him. He heard what Draymond had to say, not some nice things, and he got tossed. Steph, Draymond, everybody said Draymond deserved to be ejected for what he did and what he said. Great. Yes. If he walks away from that official and says what he said, he's still in the game. How many times in a basketball game do you see a guy walking away, or do you hear on the broadcast a hot mic pick up someone saying some really inappropriate things that you probably shouldn't be saying on a national broadcast quite often? And a lot of it's about officials. And these officials don't always hear these things. Obviously, you're not going to. And there needs to be some space for that in basketball. Like, you need to be able to vent that frustration, but not to the official himself. That is where Draymond Green had his misstep. Is that really worth chastising the guy over? I mean, after all he's done for the Warriors, you're going to drag him for this? I'm not about it, man. Like, Draymond Green has been so valuable to the Warriors. The way he plays is so valuable to the Warriors. You can't just throw him under the bus for this incident. Like, this is so different from the rest of his ejections this season. The rest of his ejections this season have come from questionable acts he did on the court with another player. Okay? I get that. That's not what he did this last outing. He's clearly not taking this aggression out. He's not crossing that line into using that aggression to amp up his physicality, because he's already physical enough. He doesn't need to add anger into that physicality. You know, I think that's where he crosses the line. He didn't do that. He's not getting angry at guys in the game and going at them with that anger. There is a clear difference. I don't know if I'm the only one who sees this, but this is a clear difference in ejection. Clear difference. We saw Chris Paul get ejected the other night for saying for calling Tony Brothers a TikToker. Are we going to chastise Chris Paul for talking mess now? Like, no. So keep that same energy with Draymond Green. Keep that same energy. Without Draymond tonight, this defense isn't the same. Draymond tonight, 8 boards, 4 assists, a steal, and 8 points. And you saw him kind of, that last bucket he got, he made sure to point at Grant Williams, by the way, after that scuffle. Draymond Green looked at this, score one more bucket, not that the Warriors needed it, but just to do it, and gave Grant Williams a little point. Like, yeah, I still got your number. And, I mean, I'm tired of guys like Grant Williams, and I'm tired of the Draymond slander. Tired of it. Don't want to hear it. Stick with us on the Locked On Warriors POSTCAST. We got a little bit more to break down from this one. I am your host, Eric Triple E Engel. We will be right back. Are you the kind of driver that likes to push things a little further? Ever wonder what adventure could be around the next corner? Our friends at Nissan have a lineup of SUVs with the capabilities to take your adventure to the next level. The 2024 Nissan Rogue is perfect for city drives and great escapes. Sounds like the car for you if you live in the Bay Area and make some trips up to Tahoe. It even has class-exclusive Google built in as your always updating assistant to call on for almost anything. The days of connecting your phone are officially gone. Google Assistant, Google Maps, and Google Play Store are built right in to the 12.3-inch HD touchscreen infotainment system, making the 2024 Rogue the perfect midsize crossover for your next adventure. Nissan's incredible lineup also includes the 2024 Nissan Armada, and it will change what you expect from a full-size SUV. Picture a rugged 4x4 that can seat up to 8 in first-class luxury and style. Tow bigger and explore further in the 2024 Armada. Pick the Nissan Rogue, Nissan Pathfinder, or Nissan Armada and go find your next big adventure. Fire TV is your destination for sports. From live games to highlights to in-depth analysis, Fire TV offers amazing viewing experiences with smart TVs as well as the Fire TV stick you can plug into your existing TV. It provides access to millions of movies and television episodes, as well as free and live television. Whether it's opening weekend for baseball or the NCAA basketball tournament, you're going to want to have a Fire TV. Fire TV recently created Fire TV channels to deliver a constant supply of the latest videos from your favorite sports brands, all for free. That includes all of us at Locked On. So you can get me, Triple E, right in your living room on the Fire TV. What more could you want? I mean, I guess you might also want some of the big pro leagues and college conferences as well, and you get that too. Fire TV channels lets you dive into all of the game analysis, highlights, and more to keep you up to date on all the latest in the world of sports. March Madness, NBA, MLB action, and lots more. Not to mention great news, entertainment, gaming, travel, and cooking shows as well. Check out Fire TV channels on Fire TV and Alexa devices. If you haven't checked out Fire TV channels, you should. Trust me on this. To learn more, visit www.amazon.com/LockedOnFireTV. Welcome back to the Locked On Warriors podcast. I am your host, Eric Triple E Engel, and tonight the Warriors defeated the Hornets 115-97. Steph led the way with 23. Andrew Wiggins had a nice 20 points as well. Trace Jackson Davis, we haven't talked nearly enough about him on this one, finished with 18 and 8 boards, as well as some excellent defense, 3 blocks, 2 steals. PJD felt like he was everywhere tonight, man, especially early on in this one. He played 31 minutes, and man, this guy looks like a bona fide NBA starting center. He told everybody that he was going to make the entire league regret on passing on him in this last year's draft. And I think every single team does regret passing on him at this point in time, as he has just had the biggest, most, I think, surprising season of any Warrior on this squad. 9 of 13 from the field tonight, and he looks like a force in that paint. I mean, I don't see him make the wrong decision almost ever. He knows exactly when to pass out of a double team in the post. He knows exactly when he's got a smaller guy, and his feel for running that pick and roll is uncanny. The way that he cuts to the rim, and you see him kind of time it too, because he's never really running full speed, but he'll use that burst and that agility in those 40-inch vertical bunnies. Like, man, it never ceases to amaze me how high this guy gets up, because when you look at him, he doesn't look like the most physically athletic big man you've ever seen in your life. But make no mistake, TJD is an elite athlete. I mean, the way this guy can leap, incredible, absolutely incredible. The way he runs the pick and roll, especially with CP3, oh man, it is textbook. You could have a clinic entirely run on the pick and roll, on the high pick and roll, with just Trace Jackson Davis and Chris Paul on the floor, and like that would be the all-time greatest basketball clinic for the pick and roll ever created. I mean, he is turning Trace Jackson Davis into all of these same guys that we have mentioned he could turn TJD into. He is so similar to so many of these big guys that CP3 played with in his career. The DeAndre Jordans, the DeAndre Aytons, the Tyson Chandlers of the world, David West, who I guess David West was a little bit of a different guy, not as big, better shooter, could use that pick and pop a little more. But point being, Chris Paul has played with so many big men that he has helped turn into all-stars, perennial all-stars, Hall of Famers potentially, the Blake Griffins of the world. And TJD has the opportunity to be that same type of guy. And a lot of that is Chris Paul's mentoring and Kevon Looney's mentoring, as we talked about earlier in this show. I'm very impressed with Trace Jackson Davis, and he is playing his best basketball at the exact right moment this season. And thank God the Warriors have him, because they have struggled so much with finding a big man that is this reliable. I mean, when's the last time that you felt so comfortable with a big man on the Warriors playing 31 minutes? I mean, you love the minutes that Kevon Looney gets you. When Looney was playing 30-plus minutes, the Warriors weren't doing so great. I mean, they needed to give him some rest during that time. And PJD looks like he's built for this. Looks like he could play 30 minutes a night. I mean, it wasn't that long ago that Kerr was talking about how they needed to ramp him up and increase his conditioning and endurance so he could handle things like this. He looked just fine throwing down that left-handed alley-oop, one-handed spike that was tossed up by Chris Paul on an alley-oop in the fourth quarter when he was jumping out of the gym. He looked totally ready to go to me, and he played 31 minutes tonight. And that was at the end of the game. TJD has been so ultra impressive for the Warriors and deserves so much credit for where they are at now. And he gives them, I think, their best defensive starting five. When you put him and Draymond and Wiggins all together with Steph, I mean, regardless of who that fifth starter is, I mean, we're going to assume it's going to be probably Kuminga if they do roll out a lineup like that, or Klay. But those Kuminga and Klay are both solid plus defenders as well. Steph is not. I'm not going to say Steph's a minus defender, but he's not someone that you look to put the clamps on defensively on someone. He does have his moments, but he is not the same as these other four. But that is four really, really strong defenders. And again, Warriors postseason lives depend on this defense. And the way that it's been traveling lately, excellent. 3 consecutive road games. Again, 3 consecutive road games, 100 points or less. In today's NBA, that is a marvel. A marvel. So the Warriors win this one again, going away 115-97 in Charlotte. Steph Curry's hometown as he has another homecoming, leading the Warriors in points scored. Good win for the Warriors tonight. Must win. Another must win. We're going to say it. Must win against San Antonio Sunday, 4 p.m. tip. Now, our next show, because if you follow Locked On Sports Bay Area, you already know we're doing post-game for Giants as well. So our next show is actually just a few hours from now. We'll come to you live after Giants Padres, and we'll break all that down as well. So stick with us here on Locked On Sports Bay Area. Thanks for joining on this one. Fun win for the Warriors tonight. Much needed win. Must win for the Warriors. 115-97 over the Charlotte Hornets. Thanks so much for joining. I am Eric Triple E Engel, and we will see you next time. Peace.